Hello, welcome y bienvenidos. It is Justine Gonzalez, one of your teachers here and guides here at Educator Aide Incorporated, our official YouTube page. Let's dive right into it. So you can see we're going to be going to the educatoraide.com website, another great source for a bunch of free resources. And so I'm going to share my screen and take us over here. This is a how-to. We are diving right in. This is a how do I evaluate culture. It's such a huge concept, and so many organizations I get the opportunity to work with, they're doing so many things really, really well. And so often when they come to our team at Educator Aide, individuals or entire organizations are asking, how can we make the culture better? This is what's happening. And I want to take a moment to point back to this because we are going to continuously have more articles released on our blog, but I want you to personally know we do everything with kind of a cherry on top, a value add. We want to add high-level trainings here for free on our YouTube channel. And also pretty much any blog or article you get, it might have some type of a case study. It might have a protocol you can use with teams or for yourself to reflect. But I want to highlight specifically in this video a very brief, how do I start to evaluate the culture? It could be that maybe you're kind of fed up with your job and you don't want to stay there anymore, or you are wanting to know, how can we get better and how can this be a more enjoyable workplace because you're in a leadership role. It could be any number of reasons, but I want to do a quick run through of first just some highlights and also something that I'm so passionate about, which is culture, as well as cultural psychology and cultural neuroscience. And I want to highlight this: culture is complex, and I want to remind you it is not so simple to transform even specific cultural indicators within a large organization or small organization for that matter. It can often require a lot of analysis and understanding of the full cultural context of the situation of the organization where they find themselves. So I want to first start by saying culture is complex. It's not something that you can fix in, hey, we trained all of our employees on a 30-minute training. It's something that everything grows from. And this specific article was written from the lens for school leaders. A lot of my background is not only in the K-12 education space as a teacher and principal, as well as superintendent, but also having served and founded multiple nonprofits over the years, and now working with corporate organizations. And I will tell you, I actually see so many parallels now after being in the business world for a number of years. I see a lot of parallels, regardless of the sector, of when people come to Educator Aide and they say, we need help with XYZ parts of our culture. So I wanted to say that because even if you see some articles that are definitely my more educator voice, please keep in mind that anything that we are teaching about can be applied across a multitude of environments, including your own personal life. So let's look at complexity. And again, this was written more from the evaluation of school culture, but this can apply to an organization's culture, period. And these are just the components that I suggest people begin with. Now, we do have our own data tools, as well as some actual national data case studies that we will be publishing on our website in the new year. So be sure that you check back in for those if you want some more nitty-gritty about the results and also the findings that we are finding with our proprietary data tools that have been taken through both our statistics, validity, and reliability tests. Okay, there's 4 different things, and I call it the 4 Ps: people, personal growth, professional growth, and programs. Yes, you will see at Educator Aide, we are big on both personal and professional growth and how they intersect. But let's dive into each one of these. And why? Because all of these indicators, they impact each other, you all. They're symbiotic. But first, let's talk about people. In any organization, we can't progress without the people, right? And you often hear from Jim Collins' work in, I believe, Good to Great. He was the one who famously coined, do you have the right people on the bus? And then are they sitting in the right seats? So I want you to think about just people in general, because any organization is only as strong as its weakest people and or players, so to speak, and how they fulfill those roles that they've been placed in. And weak isn't necessarily bad. It just means maybe you have someone in a position that they haven't been equipped for, right? And they haven't been trained for adequately. Personal growth. Often, and this isn't just educators, it's with any of us who work in any type of organization, we often focus and also fixate on external results and transformation. And we actually have to start first with the internal and understanding who we are. Next would be professional growth. So we also have to have ongoing mechanisms in organizations where growth is also tied to those measurable outcomes and the structures for accountability. So if I have a budget every year for professional learning to send my employees to different workshops and conferences, et cetera, but I'm just randomly selecting those for them, and they don't, first of all, their voice isn't included in what they desire for their own professional growth. That's step one. Step two, do the options you're providing for ongoing professional growth align to the strategic goals of your organization and where you're headed? Do they complement those efforts of the metrics that you're trying to either maintain or improve? If so, then great. But if not, and there's misalignment, then perhaps we have to examine then how you're selecting professional growth opportunities in your organization. Finally, programs, right? They can be innovative, rigorous, differentiated, all those things that offer advancement for an organization, but they can only be implemented at those highest levels when people start to actualize and realize I'm invested and I'm here to grow both personally and professionally. My organization also values that growth in me and they give me opportunities for it. There's a lot. So you see how it all starts to kind of blend together. There's some very specific questions and data points we can definitely ask once we're inside. But as a really rough how-to, if you want to start evaluating the culture of maybe even an organization you're applying for a job with, I would use this as the lens to examine, let me start researching them, right? Say that I want to apply for a job with a new company. Start researching the company. Look at who are the people on their website? How do they communicate out with the world through their blogs, through their videos, their like who are the people that operate this organization? Are they people that they seem like you want to be around and that you would align with, right? Or people that you can see value in, people you'd want to learn from. And then examine, do they say anything about how they value these other three components? Because we know people are the drivers of these other three components of personal growth, professional growth, and programs. That is what I would suggest as an initial how-to. How do I even begin to evaluate the culture and organizational culture of a specific organization? So, when you examine multiple actions then within each of those 4 different indicators, you can also start to process this information by just having those conversations perhaps with colleagues. So say that you want to look at this article together, or you look at it with just a team of your other executive level or manager level or program coordinator level, et cetera, then what will start to come out in those conversations of, who are the people? Do we really value personal and professional growth? What are our programs that show this? And how are our programs supporting our overall development of people? Then you can start to diagnose the current culture and what's currently happening, not what was happening 6 months or a year ago, not what was happening 10 years ago when you hear about the glory days of an org. Whatever that narrative is, you're looking at right now. What's going on right now? And what are the needs? Because that is ever changing and evolving. Because we are ever changing and evolving. It helps us to look at what's working and what needs work. Also try to come up with a prescription for how we can improve, asking ourselves what will be the customized learning and support aligned to these outcomes we're going for. And then how do we create progress monitoring and growth analysis to really know, are we improving and are inputs supporting the outputs that we desire? So anyways, I just wanted to bring your attention to that. I'm going to stop sharing, but we can link this direct article below. Hit me up with the comments. What do you want more of how to We are certainly going to be putting out a lot more content here in 2023, but I actually had 4 different calls with 3 different organizations today. One was a planning call with my colleague. The other 3 were with organizations. And I am going to do my best as part of Team Educator Aide, as well as our colleagues on the team here, to continue sharing ways where you can tangibly take and apply these tools. You don't need to hire a bunch of consultants like myself. I really believe that you have the capacity to enact the changes that you're seeking and desiring for your organization or the workplace that you find yourself in, and whatever those conundrums are. So leave in the comments for sure. If there's a workplace conversation, you're like, hey, will you do an episode or a little training where you teach me how to have a difficult conversation? Or, hey, I don't know how to negotiate for my salary raise. That's what we're here for. So be sure that you leave us ideas for things that you want guidance on, because guess what? If it has to do with culture or communications or leadership, we've probably got a resource to help you. Okay, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Oh, don't forget to hit subscribe and get the notifications. These are super easy videos. If you find some you like, share it with your staff once a month. Share it at a team meeting and use it for your own training. Pick me apart. Say what you do and don't like, how you'd make that process better that we just looked at in an article from our site. Have at it. We're here for your improvement and your support. Take care.